Going live right now. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're on. Okay, brilliant. Let's have a look. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Freedom, Health, and Lifestyle, FHL Life Changing Personal Development with a Lifestyle Plan Attached. Episode 22, Born Rich, Part 1, Week 4. So, welcome, everybody. Don't forget, please like, subscribe, and share the information. If you're watching live, please comment in the chat. Say hello. We'd love to get your comments and feedback. If you're watching on the replay, again, comment in the chat and let us know, and we'll try and get back to you. My name is Mick McQuillan. I'm coming to you from the Republic of Ireland. I'm here with my brother from another mother, Joey. Say hello. Are you there, Joe? Well, listen, just while I wait for Joey to get back.
I'm not sure where the signal is.
Signal's a bit bad.
It's kind of like
Listen, why don't you go out and come back in again?
Let me try and
see if that gets any better. So this is a no limits transform your life. And of course, you know, Joey and I's focus is to look better, feel better, move better, and of course, do better. And of course, we want to implement some of the principles that you're going to learn in the Born Rich Remastered webinar with Bob Proctor to look and feel the best you've felt in a decade. And it's not just about positive thinking, it's about positive feeling as well. So we're going to get into all of that. And of course, we're going to watch, you know, the next part of the of part 1, which should be the final part. Let me see if I can get Joey back in here. No, he's got no internet. Oh, he's back. There you go, Joe. Still stuck. So anyway, look, kick off your 30-day reset. Now, I want to go down here and show you this, right? Because this is where you can get in touch with Joey. Let me see if I can find him. Okay. So go to joyeunger.isogenics.com/IsaBodyChallenge. And of course, there you can find out more about Joey. And of course, if you go to freedomhealthandlifestyle.isogenics.com/IsaBody-challenge, you can find out more about me there and how you can get involved. But of course, what you want is you want a good reason why you're doing it. This is important. If you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to do anything, probably. So you need a strong reason why. And of course, you want a goal. So there's no better time to start right now. Okay, so are you ready? I'm ready. Ready. I'm getting feedback there, Joe. Hold on. I'm going to remove that one and I'm going to add this one. There you go. That's better, right? I had two of you in the studio. Okay, let's
much better.
Okay, so Joey, my brother from another mother, say hello. Let everybody know where you're tuning in from.
Hi, good day. This is me. My name is Joye Makaunga. I came live from Sydney, Australia. If you're watching this, we're both grateful with Mike to have you in our podcast. How we are going to add value to you, and looking forward to help you in the near future. So I'm ready. I'm sorry for the hiccup. I think it's the Wi-Fi in the hotel that I'm living in is not very good, so I'm stick to my phone, and I'm sorry for that.
No, you're fine. Listen, don't worry. You know, look, these things happen. And if you want to know more about Joey, you can go to Joey's Isogenics page. So it's joyeunger.isogenics.com. And of course, forget about the IsaBody Challenge thing for a minute. Just go to joyeunger.isogenics.com. And there's a contact button there where you can just contact Joey. You can reach out to him, get in touch with him, and Joey can help you get on your way and kickstart your 16-week challenge. And the 16-week challenge, as I was saying, it's all about looking better, feeling better, eating better, moving better, and of course, doing better. And what we want to do is we want to try and use some of the ideas from the Born Rich Remastered Bob Proctor webinar. And we're going to get into section 4 right now. So we're going to jump straight into it, Joe, just because, you know, we're getting into the meat. Right, you know, we've already gone through week 1, 2, 3, and really what we've set ourselves up to really kind of get in. So let me share my page, and of course, if some ads just drop in, we'll just kind of cut them off. We'll figure that out along the way. Okay, let's go. Where are we?
I want to help you. Watch closely, and we will create an image of your mind that you can work with for the rest of this program, for the rest of your life. We were talking about building brain cells and developing an image and placing it in these cells for our mind. So what we will have then are cells of recognition. When we think of our mind, rather than drawing a blank or drawing on a picture of the brain, we actually have a workable image that we can start to use. Now, before we do that, let me mention something here about a gentleman I heard speak way back in the early 70s. I was fortunate enough to be on a program in Chicago at a Human Resource Congress with a gentleman named Frank Goebel. Frank Goebel had been an aerospace engineer. He was the president of an aerospace company. And one day he was working on his budget, and he realized that 65 cents out of every dollar revenue coming into that company was going back out of the company again to employees for either salaries or benefits. And he suddenly realized he knew virtually nothing about people. Here he was spending 65% of all the revenue on something he knew virtually nothing about. He said, I knew an awful lot about engineering, and I knew a fair amount about aerospace, but I knew very little about people. And so he said that he decided he would study some psychology, and fortunately for him, he ended up collaborating with Abraham Maslow. Now, Maslow made a breakthrough, the like of which is maybe only made every few thousand years. He had come to the conclusion that you and I have infinite potential. He's written a paper. He left aerospace engineering, and he went on to start the Thomas Jefferson Research Center out in Pasadena. In a paper called The Productive Person, Goebel wrote, by nature, you and I are alike. By practice, we get wide apart. There's the difference in our results again. Now, he said the difference between the most dissimilar characters, between the real achievers and the non-achievers, for example, seems to arise not so much from nature as from habit, custom, and education. He went on to quote William James, who concluded that we use a very small part of our real potential. And James said that most people live, whether physically, intellectually, or morally, in a very restricted circle of our potential being. We make use of a very small portion of our possible consciousness and of our soul's resources in general. Much like the person who out of their entire bodily organism would get into the habit of using and moving only their little finger. I want you to think for a moment, if you had a child and that child was laying perfectly still in its crib, and the only part of its body it was ever able to move was its little finger, I'm quite certain that you would probably beg, you would borrow, and if you had to, you would steal to find out what's wrong with that child. But isn't it strange that a human being can stop growing mentally at a very early age and it can be virtually ignored? This is, without question, one of the most important subjects we can go to. I want to refer back to something Napoleon Hill wrote again that caught my attention when I first read the book. He pointed out in here, somewhere in your makeup, there lies sleeping the seed of achievement, which, if aroused and put into action, will carry you to heights such as you may have never hoped to attain. Do you know, as I think of this and as I read it now, I'm doing things today that 27 years ago, if anyone had suggested, I would have thought they were hallucinating. I take a look at my paycheck today. It's so completely different than it was when I first started to study this. In fact, the same people that used to pay me $4,000 a year are now paying me $4,000 an hour. And the only thing that's really changed is what's going on inside. Everything was already there. It's just a matter of learning how to use it. Now, he said, just as a master musician may cause the most beautiful strains of music to pour forth from the strings of a violin, so may you arouse the genius which lies asleep in your brain and cause it to drive you upwards towards any goal you may wish to achieve. Now, I'm going to put a couple of marks on the board, and I want you to really think seriously about this. You know, human organizations, as we know them today, are not going to last much longer. And that is because we have built them on a false premise. These organizations have been built on the premise that you and I are physical beings, and we're really not. We are spiritual beings living in physical bodies. And we've been gifted with something called an intellect. And by learning to use the intellectual factors in our personality, we can tap into the higher side of our own nature and improve anything in our physical world. But you know, to the average person, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it may not make a whole lot of sense to you, as I just said it. But you're going to find as we go along with this, and as we keep working with this idea, it's going to make an awful lot of sense to you. Now, I have found when we start to study ourselves, there's only 2 points of reference.
I think you mute Mike. Mike?
You could have told me that before that massive long speech.
I tried to signal you.
So what I was saying, I wanted to get your thoughts on it, right? Because he's talking about, you know, this spiritual being living in a physical body, having this intellect, and then through thinking, tapping into that higher spiritual kind of consciousness, you know, you can create, a difference in your own reality, physical reality. You know, what are your thoughts on that? I just want to, because that's weird. That's, to be honest, I think if you can understand that concept, you can change anything.
Yes, and I think when I come across that concept through Bob teaching, you know, I always share that. And that's become my belief now, that we are all spiritual beings living in a physical body, and you know, our mind, you know, our being have a different plane or a different platform, which is body, mind, spirit. And you know, and I really like that, because when I start to realize that, it's very powerful, because you start to understand that there's a potential power within you to achieve whatever you want. Start from what you think in your mind, and you know, when your thinking become the thoughts, and you're emotionally attached to that thoughts, and you act on that thought because you're emotionally attached to it, that's when you start to realize you acting in the right path, you are in a right vibration to, you know, achieve what you try to achieve in life.
Brilliant. Right, okay, I love it. All right, so look, you know, don't forget, download the workbook. The link is in the description, and follow along with this stuff. Make sure you write down some goals. Joey, I'm sure, will talk about goals and having a goal card and all that kind of stuff. This stuff is important. If you want to change something, you know, maybe you've got to change some things in your life. You know, maybe it just starts with changing your thought process first. So, again, we want to try and tie this back into, you know, what Joey and I do, and we'll get onto some of that a little bit later on. But look, let's get back to Bob, because it's so interesting.
Reference we can go to. One is science, and the other is theology. There doesn't seem to be anywhere else to go. I have found that there are only 6 basic religions. Now, I spent quite a bit of time living and working in California. I think there's something like 4,000 religions in California, but everybody starts their own out there because there's tax breaks, you see. So, but you're still going to find there's just 6 basic religions, and they all teach us essentially the same thing. They teach us that we are non-physical beings. They may use a different word, but the concept is the same. You know, it's a strange thing. Most people don't even know much about their own religion, and yet they say mine's right and all the rest are wrong, and they don't even know what the others are. I have found that every one of them has the truth in it. We are non-physical beings. See, the truth is something like the center of town. It really doesn't matter which side you approach it from. When you get there, you're in the same place. Now, the other area that we might want to look at is science. Science tells you your energy. As a matter of fact, a DuPont scientist many years ago said that the electrons and the atoms of your body contain a potential energy of more than 11 million kilowatt hours per pound. Do you know that there's enough potential energy locked up in that thing that you're sitting in that we call a body to light up this whole North American continent for nearly a week? And then you'll hear people say, I haven't got any energy. What a ridiculous statement. That's all we are, is a mass of energy. Do you know this thing you're living in vibrates? It glows. As a matter of fact, there is an aura of energy around your body. That is the cells leaving your body. Your body changes at the rate of about 50,000 cells per second. And as the cells leave the body, new ones are created. And you know you can photograph the energy leaving the body. Semyon Kurlian, way back in the early 30s, perfected a form of photography where he could take and photograph mass, and the rays of energy coming from the body would penetrate the camera, penetrate the film, and you'd actually catch it on the film. And you'd photograph the density and the color of it. I would imagine you're very familiar with this, are you?
Every single trader that's taken the FTMO challenge using my mechanic.
That's right. And you know, as the image in a person's mind changes, the vibration of their body changes, and the density and the color of this energy changes, and changes dramatically. Do you know you've even got a mental faculty where you can start to feel that energy coming from a person, and you can determine the mood they're in very, very quickly. You can virtually read what's going on inside an individual. Now, as we study this, we're going to find that this side and this side is actually all hooked up. Think of this for a second. You see sitting here on the lectern a glass of water. Now, let's stop and think about this for a moment. We call that glass. It's actually energy. Because of the speed it's vibrating at, we call it glass. We call this water. That's what it is. It's water. But it's actually energy too. As a matter of fact, the ring that's hitting it is energy, and the finger that the ring is on is energy. Everything's energy. Everything vibrates at a different speed. But stay with me here for a moment. What we're talking about here is energy. Now, while the energy is in the vibratory rate it's in that glass, we're going to call it water. And we call it water because it's vibrating at a physical or a corporeal state. If you were to add heat to that energy that we call water, you wouldn't call it water anymore. Then you would change the terminology that you would use. It'd be the same energy, but it would be moving faster and a higher speed of vibration. Then we would call it steam or vapor. And we would call the energy steam or vapor because it's not in a physical vibration. It's now moved into what we call an astral vibration. If we were to continue to add heat to that energy that we now call steam, you wouldn't call it steam any longer. You would call it air, ether, or gas. And that's because it's not in an astral vibration any longer. It's moved into now what we call an etheric vibration. But every level, it's the same energy. Now, as we take a look at this, we're going to let these lines represent levels of vibration, or as we more commonly refer to them as frequencies. And you know, each frequency is hooked up to the one above and the one below. There's no line of demarcation where one stops and the other starts. See, every frequency, it's like the colors of a rainbow. As they fit together, there's no place where one color stops and the other starts. They're all joined together. Now, you're never going to see that with something you call sight. Sight is a physical sensory factor. You have to go to one of your higher faculties, and you develop this through understanding. You start to understand. So you see, the part of us that we cannot see and the part we can see is all the same. This is just the flip side of the coin of this. Spirit always manifests through its polar opposite. We have the ability right here to tap in to this great power that I choose to refer to as spirit, and we can tap in with an intellect, and we can cause this power to literally move into form into something we call an idea. That idea must literally move into something we refer to as results. You see, both science and theology clearly indicate nothing is created or destroyed. The only thing you can do is cause it to change. Now, this particular program is about prosperity. And when we think of prosperity, money plays a very large role. But of course, so do relationships, and so does the health of our body. But let's go back and think about money for a moment. Now, when you think about money, money is really an idea. You say, that's money. No, money is an idea. It's manifest on paper. Now, paper used to be wood. I remember when I was a little boy, I lived way up in Michipicoten Harbor. That's about 3 wigwams this side of the North Pole. It's a little north of King Garden, I think. But at any rate, when I lived up there, I'd watch them take these large logs out on flat cars on the railroad. And I remember people telling me that they were going to make paper out of it. I thought, how do you make paper out of a tree? It didn't seem to make sense. Well, you alter the vibratory rate of the energy that's called wood, and pretty soon it's called paper. And then you put ink on it, and now we call it money. Now let's think about this money for a moment. If it can be neither created nor destroyed, it must already be here. If we can't destroy it, if heat will cause the energy that we call water to move into an etheric state, I would imagine heat would cause what we call money to move into an etheric state. And there it goes. Now where is it? You say it's gone. It's not gone, still here. You see, you'll never see it on the level it's on now with your physical sensory factor sight. But if you use your intellect and develop understanding, you'll know that it's still here. What we want to do is cause it to move into form. Now that's just about as bizarre as anything you'll ever hear to some people's ears. But I'm going to tell you, it's just as true as anything you'll ever hear if you understand natural laws. And what I'm talking about is moving your mind into a higher vibration, developing a higher consciousness, and you can literally attract all the good that you want. You see, money is literally attracted to us, or it's repelled. Now, in the first 27 years of my life, I can assure you that I was not magnetized to that green energy. It used to stay away from me, and now it just keeps coming to me. What did he say in this book? Right in the start of it, he said, when money starts coming, it'll come so fast and so furious, it will literally make your head spin. Now, let's take these simple concepts that have deep meaning, and let's take this other board here and build a picture. One of our intellectual factors is imagination. Another one is reason. Now, with reason, we have the ability to think. John's going to be talking about that a little later on. With our imagination, we can tap into this infinite power and we can build beautiful pictures in our mind. Now, since no one has an image of the mind, we have to make one. It's like the little boy in school. He was sitting there doodling away, drawing a picture, and teacher says, what are you doing, son? Kid says, I'm drawing a picture of God. Teacher says, nobody's ever seen God. Well, he says, wait till I finish the picture, you know. I heard about a gentleman that was running a seminar in Vancouver, British Columbia. I was living and working in Chicago at the time. I, at the time, was prepared to go anywhere to try and find out why I changed. And Vancouver was not too far to go from Chicago. I always sort of laugh when I hear a person say, oh, if you hold one of these seminars in the east end of the city, I'll come, but I don't want to drive across the city. I'd walk across the continent if I thought I could get something that would help me understand me better, because I know it's my understanding of me that's going to determine the results that I get in my life.
If you want to make money online as an affiliate marketer, you may find this a little bit controversial, but we've stumbled across a way to earn reliable pay.
My happiness, in my health, or in the area of wealth. Well, I flew off out to Vancouver, and I had heard many speakers. I'd read many books. I had a ton of information running around my head, but I couldn't get it to fit. And I couldn't get it to fit for the same reason that some of you have never been able to get it to fit. You have no picture in the brain cells of the mind. Do you know there's many psychiatrists that have problems with their patients because they're not giving them an image to work with when they're working with their mind? I have taught this idea to psychiatrists. I had a psychiatrist, Marty Cohen, out in Century City, California, tell me that he made more headway with a patient in 4 visits than he had previously made in 4 years. And the simple reason for it is he gave them order. He gave them a picture to start to work with. Well, as soon as this gentleman got up and started to speak, he was a great big gentleman by comparison to me. He and I looked like Laurel and Hardy when we worked together. But at any rate, the second he got up to speak, I knew this man knew what he was talking about. And I'm going to tell you, I listened carefully. I went over when he was finished and I asked him, I said, could I spend a couple of hours with you? And I'll never forget him looking at his watch and telling me that he was sorry. He didn't have a couple of hours. He had to go and catch a plane. Now, he said, I'd love to spend some time with you, but he said, I've got to catch a plane. And I said, well, I've got to catch a plane too. I don't mean right now. And I said, where are you going? Or he said, where are you going? I said, I'm going home. He said, where do you live? And I said, Chicago. Well, he said, what are you doing here? I said, well, I come out to hear you speak. He said, that's a long way. And I said, not for what I got. And so at any rate, I think he was impressed that I had traveled so far. He got his calendar out and I got mine out. And he told me he was going to be in Toronto in a couple of weeks. I said, well, Toronto's only an hour from Chicago. It's just up and down. I'll come over if you'll meet with me. Well, the two of us sat down in the Skyline Hotel. And I'm going to tell you, Leland Bell Van de Waal taught me as much in 2 hours. Well, I should say 2 days. No, it wasn't. It was 2 hours. We just spent a couple of days together. But everything fell into place in just a couple of hours. He taught me more in 2 hours than I had learned in 9 years, studying faithfully every day. And he proceeded to tell me, he said, listen, Bob, he said, there's a difference between hearing and listening. He said, you hear with your ears, you listen with your emotions. Now, he said, as you sit here, he said, your mind could take a trip, but your body would stay right in front of me. Now, he said, you'd hear every word I'm saying, but he said, you may not necessarily be listening. He said, if you're going to learn, you're going to have to listen. And you listen with your emotions. You've got to keep your mind with your body, no trips. Now, I said, if you do that, odds are pretty good you'll learn. And he says, there's a vast difference between learning and gathering information. He said, you see, all the way through school, we were encouraged to read.
Joe, let me ask you a quick question. Hold on. Hold on. Let me ask you a quick question, Joe. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, you were muted. Now you're not. No, I've unmuted you. Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you. So that was an interesting thing that he just said. He said you listen with your emotions. What's your understanding of that?
That's very deep, Mike. Very deep. I think he was talking about that's when you start to learn something when your emotions are involved. Because sometimes we can listen to some information and just go through one ear and other ear. But we hold on to that idea when we start to relate it emotionally to that information. You know, and it's very powerful because here with your ears, we use our ear. That's our sensor. You know, remember we have 5 senses that we used to. And I think, you know, that's what we taught in school, to listen to the information and get the information. But it's different when you learn to not only hear the information, but use your emotion to listen carefully to them. And I think it's when we talk about in the Bible, Jesus said, for those that have ears should listen. And a lot of the people in the old days, in the Bible time, they didn't understand what Jesus meant. But it's funny because I studied this material and then I realized, and I become to more understanding what the Bible said about here with your, you know, if you have ears, you know, you pay attention, you listen, you know, and now Bob has just opened up something very deep, that not only that we hear with our ears, but the listen is what with our emotion. That's when we connect with the ideas.
Brilliant. Yeah, because, you know, you touched on it just then and Bob had touched on it before. You know, like obviously you see something which is physical, you hear something which is physical, and then you've got to connect it through to the emotional, you know, which is the spiritual, if you like, you know, to that bigger thing. So it's like, you know, you think with your brain and you know, but you feel with your heart, right? So yeah, it is deep. It is deep. And look, you know, if you're watching along, you know, look, go back and watch this again, because I think it's definitely worth it. You know, see Joey's taking lots of notes. You know, he's the best note taker I know. But, you know, it's definitely worth listening to this over and over again. And the link is in the description if you want to go off and listen to the whole thing, you know. But it, you know, there's so much in it. Like Joe, I'll be honest with you, every time I listen to it, there's something new that I get from it. You know, it is. It's you know, and that simple concept. And what did he say? He said it was a simple concept with deep meaning. And it's true. You know, there's deep meaning in this. And if you can understand this, to be honest, it's, you know, it's not going to make your life any easier, you know, because it's going to open up a whole kind of situation for you where you have to start questioning some of the things that you're thinking. You know, in fact, it might even make your life a little bit more challenging to begin with. And then once you understand the concept completely, there's freedom in that. You know, I think there's real freedom in knowing that you control your mind, you know,
Yep.
and you control how you think, you control how you feel, you control how you react or how you respond. Yeah, listen, brilliant, Joe. I love hearing your comments. Let's pull this back up. I think we're making good time this week.
Yeah, same, Mike, and it's all right. Every time we listen to this, and I'm glad that we studied this again together, because I see new things in me within the teaching. So I have to give you the credit for initiate this, and we'll come together as accountability, and hopefully we're sharing this and study this, we'll be able to change some lives.
Absolutely. There's no doubt that this stuff can change a lot of people's lives. Some of this stuff they should just be teaching in school, to be honest. We should just be teaching people how to think. All right, let's hop back into this.
Remember and repeat. Read, remember, and repeat. And if you were able to do that fairly well, you were given the mortarboard of the sheepskin. And they said you had learned. Doesn't necessarily mean you've learned anything at all. You might have learned how to develop your memory, but that might have been the end of it. Now, I'm not saying no one learns doing that. Some do. But he said learning is not gathering information. Learning is when you consciously entertain an idea, you get emotionally involved in the idea, you step out and act on the idea, and you improve the results in some area of your life. Now, he said, this is the name of the game, Bob. He says it's results. Pretty good teacher a long time ago said, by their fruits, you'll know them. In other words, you can always tell a person's level of awareness by the results they're getting. If the results aren't there, they have no one to blame but themselves. For 27 years, I blamed everybody. I blamed my parents. I blamed my brother, my sister. I blamed my employers. I blamed the commanding officers I had in the Navy. It was never me, always them. They weren't doing enough for me. They weren't doing it right. The truth was, I wasn't facing up to the truth about me. I was never studying. I didn't know anything about myself. And as a result, the results indicated it. I was unhappy, sick, and broke. Now, he said, Bob, you're going to have to alter some ideas in your mind. But he said, to do that, you're going to have a picture to work with. And he told me about a doctor in San Antonio, Texas, Dr. Truman Fleet. He started the concept therapy movement. He said he attempted to teach the healing arts, and he ran into a problem. He said the medical profession that he was a part of were treating symptoms or effects. They were not treating causes. And he said, if you're ever going to enjoy health, you must treat the whole person. Now, that's called holistic healing. How many of you are familiar with holistic healing? Quite a few. Well, that's where you heal the whole person. You see, you're a triune being. You live simultaneously on 3 planes of understanding. Every one of us are the same. Every one of us. The difference is in our results, but the same here. And that's where it all starts. And that's what we want to understand. When we walk into that office where the broadloom is up to our cheeks and there's a great big oak desk and a battery of secretaries, that person is not that much better than you are. I don't care how big their car is, how much money they've got in the bank. I don't care how pretty they are. They're no better than you, and they're no better than me. See, our problem is we have been living strictly with our sensory factors and never with our higher level of understanding. If a person's skin is a different color, we say they're different. If a person lives on the other side of an imaginary line, we say they're different. If a person speaks a different language, we say they're different. If a person is a different sex, we say they're different. Are they? No. They appear different to our sight. But when we develop a higher understanding, we're going to find out that we're all the same. And when we start to grasp that, then we can start to take action on the results we want. As we see a person getting better results, we can watch and see how they're getting them, and then we can do what they're doing. Napoleon Hill says it pays to know how to buy knowledge. I'm going to tell you the best money you have ever invested is in this seminar. And I'm not saying that because I'm selling it or I'm done. And I'm not saying that because John's selling it or John's done. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that because I've studied thousands of seminars, and what we've done is take the very best out of them all and put them in this. When this was introduced to you early this morning, this was advertised as the most effective personal development seminar in the world today. It is, so far as I know. And I'm going to tell you, I've been to a lot of them. And it is because we give you a picture and then we show you how to change things. Well, Dr. Fleet said, if we're going to see health, we're going to have to give a person an image of the other side of their personality. And he said, since no one's ever seen the mind, I'm going to make a picture of the mind. Now, he said, let this represent the mind. Then he said, let this represent the thing that we've given all of our attention to now, up till now, the body. And he says it's this thing here that moves into action and causes the results that we get. If we're going to change what we do, or if we're going to change our behavior, we're definitely going to have to change what's going on in here. If we're going to change what's going on in here, we're going to have to understand how it functions. And as he pointed out, there are two sections to the mind, joined together, but different in their method of operation. And he referred to this as the conscious mind and this as the subconscious mind. Now, if you look on page 6 of your action planner, you'll see that drawing. The day Leland Bell Vanderwall drew that on the opposite side of a placemat in the coffee shop of the Skyline Hotel on Dixon Road in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I'm going to tell you my life changed. I've put that drawing on the board thousands and thousands of times, and periodically when I do, I hear people snicker. But I'm going to tell you, if they stick around, they don't snicker for long. Because what it does, it starts to trigger all kinds of light in their mind. You've heard, let there be light, let there be a higher consciousness, let there be an awareness. Well, what we've given you here is a picture to start working with. It's not my picture. It's not even Truman Fleet's. It's our picture. The second you've got it in your mind, it's yours. No one can lay claim to something like this, but we can all use it. And we are all the same. I don't care how different you may appear to be to the person beside you. You and the person beside you are exactly the same. Now, it's understanding of how this functions that makes it different. Now, if you'll flip over in your exercise book, your action planner to page 8, and I would suggest that you follow this really closely. You could be sitting in your den or your family room and just watching this and the book stuck away somewhere. That'd be a terrible error. You'd be wasting your time. And you know, time wasted, you never get back. Now, of course, you only have to pay once, you see. If you've wasted the past, you've already paid the price. You don't have to pay twice. There's some consolation to it. But I would suggest you get the book out.
Hi there. My name is Michael Crawford. Yes, that guy you might have read about in Forbes.
And follow me here. Now, you'll notice on page 8 and 9 are 6 drawings there. It's actually just 3 different ideas, or it's one idea broken down into 3 different parts. And as you take a look on page 8, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body, there are some very key parts to that. On the top drawing on page 8, we say this is the part of your mind that thinks or reasons. This is where your free will lies. Viktor Frankl wrote a magnificent book called Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist who spent the war years in a German concentration camp. And you know, I don't suppose anyone has ever been subjected to more abuse, intellectually and physically, than someone in one of those camps. I certainly couldn't even imagine it, even although he wrote it very well. But he pointed out, he said, regardless of how they chained us and abused us, they could never take control of our mind unless we chose to let them. He did not choose to let them. Viktor Frankl was a courageous man. He's lived to talk about it. He's lived to teach about it. And I'm going to tell you, he's a wise person. That's where your free will lies. You don't have to follow anybody else. We say the conscious mind can accept or reject any idea. Now, there is no person or circumstance that can cause you to think thoughts or ideas you do not choose. They are the most important lines that you might find in this entire program. Now, what I'm going to do is run over a few ideas. And as I do with each part, on page 9, jot some of them down. Not what I say, but what it means to you. Now, let's understand this right away. What I say or what John says in this seminar is not that important. What you see us put on the board is not that important. The different little props that we may use, they're not that important. What's important is what you think as a result of something we may say or you may see on the board. That's what's important. There's something you want, and there might be one idea that we fire out that'll just trigger something in your mind, and away you go. And you can do anything you want. I was talking to Raymond Aaron here early this morning. He's got a millionaires club, and there's many of you in the audience, and I want to congratulate you. I think it's a great idea. He's teaching people how to become millionaires. I watch a lot of people laugh when they say, what? He's already made 100. 100 people have developed a net worth of at least $1 million just through one person's teaching. It's incredible, isn't it? It really is. That's not a crazy idea at all. You want to be a millionaire? You can be a millionaire. Do you want to start your own business? You can start your own business. You can do anything you want. But clearly understand this. If you don't know how this works, you haven't got a snowball's chance in that hot place of doing it. We're just about to the end of this first tape. There's been some very important material covered. It's vitally important that you go back and you read through this book. Possibly even watch the entire tape again before going on to the next tape. Read from page 5 to page 8. Cover your own notes and pay particular attention to page 8 before you go to the second tape. Please understand this. This program will be of little value if you have not established a goal, something you really want, that you're emotionally involved in, that you're working towards. Possibly to help you, before we go to the second tape, we'll take you on a little tour down through some tropical island.
All right, Joe. So we're at the end of the first tape or the first session. And listen, it's definitely worth watching it again. Watch the whole thing. It's nearly 2 hours long. So, you could watch it again easily and do. Just like Bob says, download the link is in the description to download the workbook and go through it. What did you think about that concept of the mind, Joe?
Oh, it's very powerful, Mike. I'm just checking my microphone. Yeah, very powerful.
What did you say?
It's very powerful.
Can you hear me? Are you muted? Can't hear. I'm only joking.
Like I said before, so when we talk about the mind, all I'm thinking is the brain.
Yeah.
But now, brain is part of the body, and our mind is the activity that happen around it. And it's got two sections, and it's very powerful. We have the conscious mind and also the thinking mind. And when he subdivided the mind and for the two plane, it's very interesting concept. And like you said, it's worth review. It's worth going through again, watch it, repeat it, and start it, because
there's a lot in it. There's a heck of a lot in it. And look, we're going to move on to part 2 now next week, which I'm excited about, actually. But look, before we get to that, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. We'll just play these few quick clips, and then we'll talk about the MSI Lifestylers Academy and also the call that's coming up on Monday.
Join me.
Únete a nosotros.
It's time to reach your goals.
It's time to see results.
It's time to end the excuses.
Es momento de aumentar tu energía.
You can do it. Goodbye.
Hasta pronto.
Cheerio.
All right, Joe. So obviously, everybody here is invited to join us on the next webinar. And of course, to register, go to zoomto.link/rise-thrive. And of course, there you can register. In that link, just put Joey and Mike as the people who, or Joey and Mick as the people who invited you to this call, and they'll sort it out on that end. But I would encourage you to be on this call. Why? Because on this call, it's really personal development with a lifestyle plan or personal development with a business plan. This is what this is really about. And of course, I'm just going to share this page, Joe, and you can talk a little bit about it. And of course, this is our mentor, Linda Proctor. Let me see if I can just change my screen. Here. So this is our mentor, Linda Proctor. And of course, Linda, was married to Bob. And of course, you can watch this quick video here. And it asks, what do you really want? And that's what Bob was talking about. He was talking about having to have a goal. Talk to us about goals, Joey.
Yeah, goal is something that you really, really want. For example, if you want to, replace your income of your full-time job within 5 years, it depends how long. And your goal come with a time frame. And it has to be something that, emotionally attached to. Some people, they want to retire their husband, or retire their wife from working long hours. Goal can be something that keep you up every day, wake you up, give you the drive, give you the inspiration, the ambition to go out and do something to transform the result that you currently have. So, goal is very powerful. It's a tools. And, when you come to our community, our mentor, Linda Proctor, beautiful lady and fantastic work ethic, and also have a beautiful heart to serve a lot of people. And myself and Mike are part of that community, and we are here to help because we know a lot of people do the same thing. It's all about conformity. We are living in a world that people do the same thing. They just follow what the mass doing and never really thinks to decide to own their life. And, when we talk about own their life, is all about to have the time, the freedom, the health, the lifestyle, but, of course, they need the money, the financial side. And, it's funny because we grew up in a society and, maybe our belief, that money is a root of evil. Money is people that are greedy, but, our one of our mentor, Zig Ziglar, he used to say, money it's out there with oxygen. If you don't have money, you can't live in this world nowadays. I know people can debate about it, but that's the fact nowadays. If you don't have the financial, how can you live, pay the grocery, pay the rent, and support your dream, and kicking coals. So our community, we teach the lifestyle. We teach the kind of system that would enable you to grow your financials, and able you to give you more time to do whatever you want, and also travel wherever you want to travel, whoever you want to travel with. And the main thing is the accountability. You will have mentors, leadership, and people like myself and Mike will able you to guide you, direct you, and give you the right tools and resources to go out there and live your life.
Yeah, Joey, brilliant. I love it. I was just showing the Facebook page here. Obviously, you've seen that. But again, look, just coming back to this tab for a second. Obviously, you've got this video at the top. You want to watch this. So really it's saying, what is it that you want? What do you really want? What if there is a way to truly create the lifestyle of your dreams? One that actually worked, that worked for you, a proven way. Wouldn't you be curious to find out what it is? Well, look, even if you're just curious to find out what it is, go watch this video. So it's short, it's not long, watch it, and then download this little black book. You can see I'm just hovering over the screen there. If you click that button, it's going to bring you to here. What you want to do is put in your name, your best email. How did you find us? Joey and Mick. Click here and then download. Now, of course, when you do, you also want to watch this video here at the end. Again, it's not long, right? But at the end of this video, there's going to be a link which will pop up right at the very end, which will bring you, which you can actually just click on it, and it's going to bring you to the Facebook group. Let me just see if I can get that to work. I don't think it's going to work. Maybe I need to do something. But it does work anyway. So just watch that video right up to the end, and then it's going to bring you to the Facebook group. And of course, you can get to that Facebook group here. You can see some of our mentors here. You've got Linda Proctor, Marnie Kane, Nick Dask, and of course, there's many others, like Wolfgang Sonnenberg, Marco Cairo, Alina, Karina, Joey, Megan McCurdy, and many, many more other people, in this group. And again, click on that link and you can, it's just a private invite only group, right? But you can try and get in here. You just have to request to get in here. They're going to ask who sent you here. Just say Joey and Mick. Joey and Mick sent me here. And of course, you get access to all of this great information. There's a lot of information in here on how you can do things a little bit differently to start living the life that you really, really want. And of course, we want to focus on that 16-week challenge to begin with. It's about looking better, feeling better, eating better, moving better, and of course, doing better. What is this? Well, this is personal development with a business plan attached, but it's really about lifestyle. It's about creating a lifestyle, with purpose. I better check my notifications and my messages, Joey. Right, we won't worry about that. I'm showing that page and no one could really see it. That's because I'm a novice. I don't know what I'm doing. But look, we're not going to worry about that. But look, anything is possible. Because when we're watching that video there earlier on, we're watching Bob Proctor talk about it. He's really talking about being limitless, and we are limitless. We just have to believe it, right? So look, I would encourage you to go to this website, MSI Lifestylers, and of course, go through this process, watch this little video, download your little black book, and then request to join the Facebook page. And of course, look, this is just, I'm not saying it's for you. I'm just saying that you should take a look at it. That's all. If you really want to change something in your life, you've got to make some changes in your life. And it starts today. Today is the day. Let's not wait. Let's do it now. As Joey says, get it done. Just find out what it is that you want to do. All right. But you've got to have a goal. Bob talked about goals, and I'm sure we're going to get more into that next week. Let me see. So we've got this. Where do we go from here, Joe? Do we have anything else that we need to cover?
No, really exciting to looking forward for next week for the part 2 of the You Were Born Rich. So it's so deep, it's so powerful, it's so mind-blowing, and it's something that a lot of people never heard of before. So exciting. All
right, Joe. Well, listen, we'll finish off with our favorite video. Thank you for being here with me today. I know that I really do appreciate you coming here today, because you didn't have to, because you're actually away with your wife, right? So, you're choosing to share some of your time with me and others, and I really appreciate that. So thank you, Joe. It really is appreciated. All right, so let's play out with this video. And of course, this video is, if you can dream it, you can do it. These are Bob's words, not mine. These are Bob's. Bob's our mentor. Linda is our mentor. She's the leader of our network marketing organization. Both Joey and I are professional network marketers, and we want to teach you how to do that. We want to teach you, how to become a professional network marketer, how to, we want to teach you what we do, how we do it, what works really, really well. And I consider Joey to be an expert in that. He's a great leader in this organization. I really appreciate everything he does. He's an entrepreneur, business person, and, I learn a lot from him. So listen, now's the time. Get on board. Don't wait. We're excited to be working with you. And look, we want to work with people that want to work with us. So, right, let's watch this. Let me just try and get rid of some of this stuff. I'm going to stop sharing that. All right, Joe, I'll see you on the other side.
Can I just quickly say one thing quickly? Thank you to you, mate. And I love doing this because, with the professional that we have, as long as you have a laptop and internet connection or, your phone, you can connect from anywhere. Currently on a weekend away with my wife, I was able to help a lady in the States, guide her, direct her, and answer her question. That's the beauty of this business and the lifestyle that we have. We can work from anywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's in a hotel, beach, airport. We can still adding value to people's life. And like you said, the best time to join and take a look of what we're doing. It's right now. People are looking for work, but I think entrepreneurs are looking for opportunity. And if you have an entrepreneur spirit within you, I think you should take a look at what we're doing. Thank you.
Love it, Joe. Love it. All right, see you on the other side.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now, all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your step. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men. for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.